from the financial capital of the world. The opening bell is going to ring in 5 seconds, and to be honest with you, we wish it wouldn't.
Seconds to go until the start of trading at the New York Stock Exchange, and stocks are set to
here, a loss of
take
37 points or so. Apple shares are just getting hammered this morning.
4.5% generally across these markets.
About the speed with which we are watching this
everywhere, essentially down by 4-5, down over 16%.
Waiting to see how low the Dow will go. They're focused on the Dow, not so
has fallen
focused
about
on OPEC.
18%. Is now down 21%.
Went from 190 to 166 in the blink of
What's happening on Wall Street?
Worst day on Wall Street since the crash of 1980.
NASDAQ, everything and more has been completely wiped
We're
out.
not getting the bid wanted. We're not getting the stop trading, and we see where the buyers are. We're just
Broad-based declines across all of the major technology sectors. Apple's under pressure. Yahoo down 8.5%. Cisco 6.5%. Research in motion.
The turmoil that we have experienced of late may well lengthen the period of weak economic
is as
performance
volatile as you'll ever
and further
see.
increase the risk.
Crash in 1987, close to that percentage loss those 2 days in
Banks over in
1929.
Frankfurt is down by 9%. The Paris market down by 9%. Austria, which was briefly suspended earlier on in the day, is down by nearly 11%.
Just broad-based declines across all of the major technology sectors. Apple's under pressure. Yahoo down 8.5%. Cisco 6.5%. Researchers like
This could be the most serious recession in decades. And that means life, as most Americans know it, is about to change, in some cases dramatically.
This is mostly a protest. It is not generally speaking unruly. The fires have been started.
It's been a mostly peaceful protest, but then they chose to move in.
Many of these protests.
Oh boy.
I'm looking at those live pictures next to you, and they seem very peaceful.
Folks on the fringes of protest that do the things that
Mostly peaceful, mostly peaceful, mostly peaceful, mostly peaceful, mostly peaceful.
A few people who break a few windows and burn a few cars.
Mostly peaceful.
I think at the moment we're trading on fear. We're looking into the abyss, and you know, the worst fear is that this spreads, and instead of being a U.S. housing market problem.
These are history, to use them as cannon fodder in a bloody revolution to destroy America. As early as 1928, the communists declared that the racial differences among our people constituted the weakest and most vulnerable point in our social fabric. By constantly probing and straining at this one spot, they calculated that eventually the cloth could be torn apart and that Americans could be divided, weakened, and perhaps even set against each other in open combat. We must not be led into placing the blame for the riots, the civil disorders, on the Negro people of our nation. Even those few who are promoting hatred and violence in the black communities are not themselves the cause. They're merely being used by forces far bigger than they are to promote the violent phase of the revolution in America.
They just threw something on fire, Chris, a firecracker. It's on fire!
No one should be destructing property and that sort of thing, but I understand the anger.
BLM, if you are not caught up to BLM, it is not even a real black organization. It never was. I actually feel bad that I've been keeping a lot of this information cooped up for so long, but I just felt like, it wasn't getting anywhere. There is hidden powers who are controlling the narrative, and they're brainwashing you to feel a certain way about the system, about white people, about every race, and about yourselves.
What it basically means is to change the perception of reality to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interest of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country. It's a great brainwashing process. It goes very slow.
Get a grip on the situation.
Right the way round the world.
Now stay tuned.
Stay with the scanner. Okay.
Home, family, body, mind, soul, killing on every side. Listen to your news.
Muzyka lekka, łatwa i przyjemna.
Don't be a victim of the silent killer.
This is the voice of Turkey.
He looked at the granite, to be cut, he thought, and made into walls. He looked at a tree, to be split and made into rafters. He looked at a streak of rust on the stone and thought of iron ore under the ground, to be melted and to emerge as girders against the sky.
There's people starving all over the world, subjected to tropical cyclones and stuff.
It is the perfect weather for sitting on my shortwave radio and listening to voices from around the globe.
Selling 4-wheeler crack cocaine in the streets of Greater Manchester, as the police said, was a well-planned organisation. Taking phone calls from people, sending the phone calls to the rest of them. Then would go out and distribute the drugs. Then would go out and distribute the drugs.
There will be ongoing civil unrest in virtually all European cities. There will be frequent outbreaks of small-scale civil war, rioting, burning down buildings, and even killing of random groups of people. In the meantime, back in the cities, and alternative media news websites will be keeping the public informed of the reality of things. As a result, the reality of things will be known and undeniable to most normal people.
It's a question of whether the nation state and now the assault on nationalism that's very fashionable is actually progressive. Because, let me put it this way.
Ah, the United Kingdom. Come for the starchy food, stay because you're in prison for a thought crime.
Desensitization was like 17 months ago. We're in full-blown 24-hour news numbness at this point.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, which of the Dims is meanest one of all? Pandering to blacks, Latins, the dumb, and the incarcerated. A flop college hag never ran a bookstore. Speaking in Spanish, white as a ghost, as dumb as a cactus, never ran a lemonade stand. Dumb as a shoe, lecturing us on corporate consolidation. Where does he get his dollars from? The poor, the rich, or the homeless? Destroyed NYC. Bums, crimes, dirt, filth, needles, and playgrounds. Wrecked clean Washington State, turned it into a crime-ridden third world cesspool. You know why? Some profits are more equal than others.
Oh, God.
Jesus,
Do you need to put on a crash helmet and hazmat suit?
He was the worst of them all.
There we go.
So what are you patriotic to if you're so sceptical about expressions of nationalism?
Isn't it funny? You know, when I came here 17 years ago, and I said that I wanted to lead a campaign to get Britain to leave the European Union, you all laughed at me. Well, I have to say, you're not laughing now, are you? You, as a political project, are in denial. By stealth, by deception, without ever telling the truth to the British or the rest of the peoples of Europe, you have imposed upon them a political union.
The West is the best. Why do you think everyone wants to move here? But when they do move here, they bring the worst aspects of their own culture with them and create ghettos, supplanting the original culture.
BuzzFeed. Oh, the moral conscience of the world now rests on BuzzFeed. You could not beg on knees for a better gift in the culture wars, because this will never, ever leave their orbit, what they have done over the last day or two. So let's see it.
Steps to toppling a nation. You've got controlling healthcare, increasing poverty, increasing debt, enforcing gun control, instituting welfare, controlling education, eradicating religion, and fomenting class warfare. While granted, we do see many of these steps being promoted in our country today, I want to talk in broader terms.
As citizens of this country, we must say enough is enough. This cannot be accepted. The police, they must double their effort. I don't know whether we need to introduce more harsher laws or change the laws. This, I think, we must discuss. The crisis.
South Africa has no high levels of rape and murder, but a rush of crimes in recent weeks has gained national attention. A child body was found this month at an illegal dam in Johannesburg. Her boyfriend has been arrested. Police say he confessed to her killing. Well-known South African men are calling for men to stand up.
When are we going to take our position in society, in families, and come to the defense of our women and children? When is that? How many calibers must be there before you stand up as a man and say it cannot happen in my name?
There's this fixation among the money junkies, the bankers, that they can't take any losses. So what they're doing is they're forcing the governments to keep funding them by flooding money into the system. So you have interest rates now at record lows. This is a grand experiment we've never seen before. But we know how it's going to end. It's going to end as they've tried to do it once before. And that is, you had the crash of 1929, the Great Depression, currency wars, trade wars, world war. You have the same thing playing out now. You have the panic of 08. You have a Great Depression. There's a depression in Italy, a depression in Spain, a depression in Greece, a depression in Slovenia. There's a depression in Portugal, a depression in Ireland. There's depressions in the United States among tens of millions of people who've lost their jobs, can't find new ones, given up looking, and all those people have been thrown out of their homes. And now there are currency wars. Don't believe me? Listen to Abe, the new Prime Minister of Japan. There's a currency war, his words. Listen to Mervyn King, the outgoing president of the Bank of England. There's a currency war going on. Listen to Alex Verba, the head of UBS, former president of Bundesbank. There's a currency war going on. Listen to Guido Mantega out of Brazil. There's a currency war going on. And pick up the newspapers. There are real wars going on. There's one in Syria. There's one in Libya. There's one in Bahrain. There's one in Yemen. There's how many in Africa, Central Africa, Mali, name the country, there's a war. And then you have all the class warfare going on. So we're seeing this scenario play out the same, and when you follow the timelines, we're now in the late 1930s.
You think we're headed for war with Iran? I mean, that was the first thing John Kerry said was, we're not going to put up with Iran with a nuclear armed Iran. That's the first thing he said.
Yeah, we. What do you mean we? Who's these we's? You know, also in my Trends Journal, I have Gerald Celenti's 4 Rules of Peace. Those that want to pick the fight the fight. You want to call yourself Commander-in-Chief, you got to take out Assad or Ahmadinejad. Boom, go take him out, Jack. Be like Alexander the Great. Be like William the Conqueror. How about this one? Be like Washington. Lead the charge or shut your mouth. Either call them out, you take them out. Number 2, anybody out there, oh yeah, we gotta fight, sign up. Keep me out of your psycho trip. And if you're too old or infirm, for whatever reason, and you can't go, send your wife, send your kids, and send your money. You want to fight the war, pay for the war with your life or your money. Rule number 3, the golden rule. Hey, you're French, you want to go attack Mali and they say they're going to pay you back? Guess what? Payback's a bitch. The golden rule. You reap what you sow. Do unto others. Stop calling them names. Stop calling them terrorists and evil people after you go in with your Mirage jets and bomb the hell out of everybody. And then when they kill you, you cry like a little baby. Rule number 4. You want to go to war? Let the people vote. I don't need some clowns in Washington telling me what the story is and why we should go to war. Let the people vote. The burden of the war falls on our shoulders. You don't see Bush's girls out there fighting. You don't see Clinton's kids. I bet you won't see Obama's babies. You want to go to war? Let the people vote. All of these chicken hawks, all of these little guys out there with cojones the size of mothballs telling us we have to go fight, let the people vote. And anybody that votes for war, you go to war. I don't need people to tell me why America or I should go to war. I didn't go to the Vietnam War, and I don't want my money or my friends or my loved ones fighting psychopathic wars like they did in Iraq, like they did in Afghanistan, like they're doing in Libya, and like they're going to get us all killed now.
Easy, and when you walk on the street, you have to be really careful.
Members of the cult used a deadly gas to attack Tokyo's subway system during the morning rush hour. 13 people died and about 6,300 others were injured.
In the South China Sea, China is also building man-made islands to claim territories in disputed waters. China has used its navy to keep Filipino fishermen out. Some say they even tried to ram their boats or even come on board and take their equipment.
Welcome to Chinese Theater, a program that seeks to immerse you deeply in the sights, sounds, and tastes of China.
If you're so hungry, make yourself some lentils.
And that's the latest from CRI News.
Please stay tuned. This is NHK World Radio Japan.
I think we have porous borders by design and by our intention. We want to be an open country. We always have been. For always the ability that very undesirable people can come in from a number of different crossing points and can cause, as we've seen today, enormous damage.
My question was going to be whether or not you thought the borders were going to get much tighter.
Well, I'm afraid they will, yes. I'm afraid it's not just with Canada.
Flooded the streets of Hong Kong to protest a bill that would allow for the arrest and transfer of Hong Kong residents and foreign visitors to mainland China with very little safeguard. To give you a better idea of how huge this protest was, that's about 1 in every 4 citizens of Hong Kong marching in the hot subtropical weather. It's just a sea of people that never end.
An explosion with a magnitude of 20,000 tons of TNT. It was something that the imagination really couldn't comprehend.
The terror threat level in Central Holland has been raised to its highest level. I can also tell you the German federal police have boosted border surveillance, and we do know that heavily armed tactical police have converged on an apartment block.
Park, we have Antifa, and on the other side we have Proud Boys in Freedom Plaza, just blocks away from the White House.
Al Jazeera, how a Russian security company and officials, after helping Moscow establish a firmer foothold in Chechnya, Syria, and Ukraine, are now turning to the African continent, joining a geopolitical chess game involving China and the United States, who have already established bases in places like
police officers here in D.C. making sure the protests do not become violent.
Over 500,000 people were murdered in Brazil in the last 10 years. Criminal organizations seem to be untouchable to the state.
And the storm of turbulence in the transatlantic airwaves. Remains in shock following the death of an 8-year-old boy after he was pushed onto tracks. He and his mother were shoved in front of a high-speed train on Monday. An arrest was made as he's a 40-year-old married father of 3, originally from Eritrea, who's held asylum status in Switzerland since 2008.
You make your safety by your own, like buy a gun and be the hero.
They put a $10 million bounty on the head of this is the
state really starts to come apart because outside of the economic migrants who are coming here and taking us all as tools, no one likes it. Maybe there might be a few bleeding hearts who live in gated communities, but these people are in the minority, and there is a rising tide of people who are unhappy about the status quo. And I think that
plan, because surely this is clear evidence that you don't need to build a nuclear warhead to cause havoc and terrible destruction.
That is true, you don't. But on the other hand, people have nuclear warheads which could cause even worse destruction. I think you have to plan and try to defend against both. I don't think it's enough to say both. I don't think
Franklin from Italy Bay, eastbound traffic is staying red, northbound traffic is staying green.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4.
It seems that we should admit that shortwave will completely be replaced by the new medium, such as internet and smartphone. But I hope the remaining broadcasters, including Radio Link International, will continue their broadcast on shortwave as long as possible.
2, 0, 2, 9, 7. Jasne, 7, 2, 3, 9, 4. Terminat.
And then there was just total silence. And I knew I had killed another human being.
¿Qué técnicas son las que se emplean en este tipo de
So I got a question for you.
This question. This is what I want to know, because there's so damn much confusion about what the hell just happened, right? What in God's name just happened in America this past weekend? That seems to be what everybody wants to get to. Oh my God. Hey, what just happened? In a country full of, how shall we say, sissies, babies, cupcakes, snowflakes, fruitcakes, in a country full of people that are offended when the wind blows. Good God, grow up, people. talking about cupcakes and snowflakes and fruitcakes and every kind of cake in the world. I never liked fruitcake, couldn't stand fruitcake. Every Christmas, my Aunt Nate would send us fruitcake. I hated fruitcake. We all got those stories. Thinking of fruitcakes, cupcakes, and snowflakes, a Mississippi school district at the end of last week pulled the classic To Kill a Mockingbird. Good God.
That nationalism means hatred of others. That crime has in relation to race. That non-establishment ideas are conspiracy theories. That Occam's razor means the simplest explanation is correct. That oligarchy is the same as aristocracy. That the president is the leader of a nation. These are the absurdities intellectual actually believes.
Good fucking morning, podcasters. Alright, what are your thoughts on this?
You're alright, guys, it's Big Red here. I've just been listening to radio and something really fucked me off.
How dedicated I am to getting the news to you.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. Disagreed with a lot of things, agreed with some things, but definitely.
Interesting take and a different way of thinking around that issue.
Are you a fucking rocket scientist, mate? Wow! Are you fucking biochemist or something? That's genius. Mind blown.
One way around that particular moral conundrum is to listen to it if you want to listen to it, but without paying for it.
Where I sweep the streets of Westminster.
All we should care about is how much revenue we raise. What a load of shit!
Welcome if you've been affected. Welcome to If You've Been Affected.
If you've been affected.
If you have been affected.
That's terrifying.
Welcome to If You've Been Affected.
None of that stuff. I don't get it, and I don't want to get it.
It's time for a little special report from Jack River, describing to you exactly how we've been fucked today.
And if you've been affected.
If you've been affected.
So I think society as a whole needs to take a good, long, hard look at yourself. Now, get a fucking grip of yourself!
If you have been affected.
Welcome to If You've Been Affected.
And I've been your host, Jack River, taking names in the morning, kicking ass in the evening.
If you've been affected. And if you've been affected, and so have I.
You are obsolete, Mr. Wordsworth. A lie! No man is obsolete. You have no function, Mr. Wordsworth. You're an anachronism, like a ghost from another time. I am nothing more than a reminder to you that you cannot destroy truth by burning pages. You're a bug, Mr. Wordsworth, a crawling insect, an ugly, misformed little creature who has no purpose here, no meaning. I am a human being. Words, Mr. Wordsworth, that have no substance and no dimension, like air, like the wind. I don't care. I tell you, I don't care. I'm a human being. I exist. And if I speak one thought aloud, that thought lives, even after I'm shoveled into my grave. Illusions, Mr. Wordsworth. Illusions that you inject into your veins to make you think you have a strength when you have no strength at all. You have nothing but spindly limbs and a dream, and the state has no use for your kind.
Resistance to tyrants is obedience to God. Obedience to God. Obedience to God.
Haven't got too much more time to live. Over 6 billion people or more are going to die. Safety, New World Order, law and order, law and order, law and order.
But if there is broad moral outrage among civilized nations, and by the way, I'm not surprised the Chinese and Russians are behaving as they do because it's their lawless in many ways.
It would be the case for Russia to pay small ISIS terrorist groups for setting off its smaller tech to turn off our interception systems.
But if the West says this is unacceptable and permits the United States to act, and act very forcefully and punitively, not surgically, but really come down hard,
This will send a message.
The United Nations, we're making way for both the Chinese and the Russians and the Arabs to make war.
Why do we have to reach for a gun every time, PK? Yeah, I mean, what other options do we realistically have?
Yeah.
What options are left?
I appreciate that, but I mean...
Well, then why do you ask the question that way? I would say to you, the objective here should be to take out the chemical weapons, but also deal a forceful blow, which will cause us to think twice about similar actions.
Yeah. God take, God give.
See, I have this day set thee over the nations and over the kingdoms, to root out and to pull down and to destroy and to throw down, to build and to plant.
We can deal a very punishing blow without ever violating their airspace. We have remarkable missiles on those cruisers.
Can you get me a frequency that Hart will be running us on?
Because I'll just point you to the news. I'll point you to all the gun violence in our country perpetrated on each other by white folk, mostly. Who claim to believe in God. I believe in God. The prison's filled with white people who believe in God. If that's the look or the reaction, someone running, screaming, then it's terrorist, okay? It doesn't matter if it's Alabama Bibi or Joseph Smith or whomever. It doesn't matter. If people are running, screaming, like Godzilla's coming up out of the Hudson, that's terrorism, okay?
Black hat, blue jacket. So he's got 5 others standing with him. 5,500 block of Princeton for information only.
It's been said, any society is only 3 missed meals away from chaos. Those times may be near. Think about it. Our country faces multiple terrorist threats and aggressions from Russia and North Korea. Social unrest and violent marches yet again may lead to looting of stores and city shutdowns. And our crumbling infrastructure leaves our power grid vulnerable to long-term outages from a single cyber attack. When the chaos from any one of these threats arises, the government knows it can't provide during a widespread national emergency. That's why you need your own plan for self-reliance. That's where My Patriot Supply comes in.
07724, the time is 13:32. Heavy clear.
Be prepared for the next disaster with the Shelter Pod. The Shelter Pod is a large, all-season, heavy-duty, quick-deploy shelter. The Shelter Pod system can be set up in 30 seconds and includes an emergency medical kit, water filter, survival tools, and more. Are you prepared to take care of your family? Do you have everything in one place?
In a few minutes, my engineer, Jonathan E. at Master Control and I are going to go looking for something perfect. That's right, the perfect beat for you, especially if you are up at Planet Rock.
You didn't fully take Europe 1,400 years ago. Too bad there was a counter-strike called the Crusades. We apologize. Please take us over. Please inbreed us and pour acid on our faces and cut women's genitals off and murder the gays. It's liberal! Liberal! Murder us, we're liberals. These are the insane maniacs that think they're God. But here's the thing. We're awake. We're aware of you. We're never going away. We're never stopping. We're never backing down. We're never giving in. So enjoy the long, dark night that's coming for you. And the message is the medium. But the medium's the message to dumb you down. To just talk to you like, oh, hi, I'm guilty, I'm liberal. And you get the internal Facebook documents. We want to savage their minds, keep them totally depressed and isolated with our avatars controlling them. Then we can slowly make them depressed, give them Prozac and Lulox ads, while the avatars steer them towards our final objective. I am Mark Zuckerberg, psychopath God. I am your God. walk among you as a man. But first I must make you below the animals, so that I can be higher than you. I am Mark Zuckerberg. I am your psychopath guard. Yield to me. Give me full control now. I will rule you. Once you've fallen, now put on the VR and let me put you in a trance, because we paid a lot of money at the UT Psychology Department testing on this flicker rate. So get ready to get put into an addictive trance and give your children those slave factory iPhones and let us into your mind, because we're going to tear you apart. We're liberal. Oh, we're so liberal.
Power. Questions like the difference between power and authority. What is the concept of progress? What's the nature of community versus the collective? What's the difference between rhetoric and information? Who really controls the state? What is the state? Why do factions form? Why do they cooperate? What does development mean? And that's what political science is, at its best. But you can't be subject to ideological paradigms. You can't be based on self-interest. You're not justifying anything. The absurdity that these people believe, using words like fascism, thinking that just means being against free speech. People who honestly believe that businessmen are conservative, that capitalism somehow is a conservative idea.
Very slow. It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation. Why that many years? Because this is the minimum number of years which requires to educate one generation of students exposed to the ideology of the enemy. In other words, Marxism-Leninism ideology is being pumped into the soft heads of at least 3 generations of American students without being challenged or counterbalanced by the basic values of Americanism, American patriotism. The result you can see, most of the people who graduated in the 60s, dropouts or half-baked intellectuals, are now occupying the positions of power in the government, civil service, business, mass media, educational system. You are stuck with them. You cannot get rid of them. They are contaminated. They are programmed to think and react to certain stimuli in a certain pattern. You cannot change their mind, even if you expose them to authentic information, even if you prove that white is white and black is black. You still cannot change the basic perception and the logical behavior.
Hordes of military police are deployed all over the country to maintain...
Oh, well.
At least 11 people have been killed in another night of lynching and violence in Venezuela. At the end of 2 days of protests against the socialist government of Nicolas.
The Canadian president now says the army will be deployed to protect facilities in the energy sector.
And they're lying. They're preparing for war.
And we've just found out the people on the toboggan were on crack.
Bangkok Airways, Asia's boutique airline, now flies direct from Bangkok to Sukhothai. 3 flights a day.
It's going to be a negative match on the suspect. We have his information though, if you guys need it.
Business Matters on the BBC World Service, the world radio station. A very good morning to our listeners on medium wave in Hong Kong on 675 kilohertz, and to those of you listening in Berlin on 94.8 FM.
That's why today I signed an executive order activating the National Guard and ordering they be prepared to move hundreds, perhaps thousands of troops to assist in flood fighting operations across the state. These floods may well be deep and destructive.
Right now, you know the resources here. You are tuned to General Service of All India Radio.
You're welcome to write to us on
Adventist World Radio, post box number 17.
And the primary issue, according to some people, seems to be the women in political leaders
who are living in luxury and enjoying all the benefits. Where politics in Africa has become an industry. You want to get rich? Change politics. Change politics.
We live in a society that is based on employment. What does faith work? It means to use, to exploit, to take advantage of.
Video film showed a dozen cars on fire, explosions, and now Brazilian federal police have arrested 8 people and killed 3 suspects.
If the helicopter can get above us somewhere in the river, I'll get a light going and here.
I just thought that was beautifully written. I can make you another guarantee, but I can promise you one thing. I will be dead honest with you every single night. And I got kicked off the radio because I thought it was the damnedest thing. I could use derogatory terms about certain races and religions and ethnicities, and that was cool and that was okay, but I couldn't use other racially derogatory terms, bigoted terms about other ethnicities or religions or nationalities. And I won't say any of them here, but I could say the S word, I could say the K word, but I could never say the N word. Certain words I could say and certain words I couldn't say. This comedian called President Trump a white cracker. Well, if that's acceptable, build the wall. Build it. Build the wall. That wall on our southern border, get it done. Get it built. Build it now, doggone it. If you think for the next couple of minutes I'm going to say anything else, you are profoundly mistaken. Build the wall. I want a wall on our southern border. I want to keep people out. Build the wall. I don't want anybody in this country illegally. Build the wall. Build it now. Build it now, damn it. Build that wall. I want terrorists out. I want illegals kept out. Build the wall. I was promised a wall. You were promised a wall. Build the wall. Build it. Build what? Build the wall. Repeat after me. Build the wall. How many times can I say it? Build the wall. I don't want any excuses. Get the wall built. Should be building it now. Construction should have begun by now. I want that wall built. I want a big, beautiful wall on our southern border. Build the wall. Build the wall, build the wall, build the wall, build the wall. Build it now. Secure this country.
Do you need our assistance with the evacuation?
Keep people out of this country who aim to come into this country illegally.
Yo, out there, let's fuck around with some of that old feel-good gangster shit.
Built by rugged, heroic capitalists.
Yo, I'm like Shane Mosley. I'm quick with minds, get it right. See me in new kicks and shines. Only cop hundreds, no nicks and dimes, and you still chasing after old chicks of mine. I'm like Shane Mosley. I'm quick with minds, get it right. See me in new kicks and shines. Only cop hundreds, no nicks and dimes, and you still chasing after old chicks of mine. I'ma call it how I see it. You do the same. You mad at the world, but you to blame. I'm Big D, I stay true to game. And next time you mouth off, I'ma put 2 in your frame. I'm like Shane Mosley, I'm quick with minds. Get it right, see me in new kicks and shines. Only cop hundreds, no nicks and dimes. And you still chasing after old chicks of mine. Is this a thin line between love and dough? I always put business above a hoe. Chicks tell me they love the show. And you keep messing up packages cause you love to blow. Holla at me. I'm like Shane Mosley, I'm quick with minds. Get it right, see me in new kicks and shines. Only cop hundreds.
You are listening to Radio Romania International.
Control 2 John 4, it's going to be a late 90s golden Toyota Camry 4-door with hubcaps. He's going to be driving.
Live on the BBC World Service.
Yo, got to check out the W. 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 You got to check out the W. Got to check out the W. You got to check out the W. Got to check out.
We struggle, we grits, and huddle with clicks, and rumble with clips, and puddles will drip. You bundle our shit, the tongue will be thick. It's under the lip.
We are harassing the gas station attendants and their gangbangers with tattoos on their neck.
175. 171 King, we need cover. That's TV.
Take cover now.
Engine 27 with Medic Rescue 9, Command 70, TAC 7F, medical aid.
122 Victor, I'm almost there. What's up, Enter 20? Coming into Berkeley, across the 3602 West Wayland. Caller waiting in front stated that had an unknown offender inside the apartment. Still get details.
Chula Vista Truck 57, Command 88, TAC 8B. Chula Vista Battalion 52, Commercial Structure Fire, Engine 43, Engine 6. Chula Vista Engine 59, Engine 29, Truck 29, Battalion 51, Medic 43. Reported commercial structure fire across Vista Santa Domingo.
Houses and drug dealers were cuts on their waistline, selling drugs from the corner and back to the Marathon gas station. So at 4701 West Washington, there's a prostitute performing between a Chevy Tahoe. Unit 14, we're getting a battery in progress. 2100 block of West Crystal. 2100 block of West Crystal. Pat is a caller, says there's a male black and a female black fighting in front of the church. Nothing further for the unit 14.
Take a ride with an ambulance. The female appears to be suicidal.
Burglary in progress at 1332 Wellington. Conversation. Robbery. No problem. No problem. Shots fired. Couple calls. 4 in Richmond. 5-4 in Richmond. 1 came in at 5-3 in Richmond. Got 6 to 7 shots fired. Heard cars speed away. Second to go. 6 shots fired. Only 20
Like I said, the movement has been compromised.
The country is 14 on normal. 2 suspicious males in gray hoodies.
Yo, this is the life, the Buffalo Soldier. Come for fight down Babylon. As the new millennium dawns, you must prepare your conscious mind. Open your eyes and see through the devil's disguise. Stay wise, stay true and stay real, before the world becomes a killing field.
There is no such entity as the tribe or the public. The tribe or society is only a number of individual men. Nothing can be good for the tribe as such. Good and value pertain only to a living organism, to an individual living organism, not to a disembodied aggregate of relation.
By the way, I'm sitting here looking at pictures of Donald Trump giving his Illuminati hand signals, just like all the other politicians have been doing down through the years. Here he is sitting, giving the horn signal, you know, the truth.
99 going into the millennium time. The Rasta Starship Trooper taking on Lucifer. All devils on the lower level. Keep it real, stay wise. Look with your third eye. Exercise your mind, the cerebral cortex. Kill Babylon with a raw flex. Peace.
that a day of Christ is at hand. Let no man deceive you by any means.
Coronavirus lockdown led to output shrinking by more than 20% in April, dwarfing the impact of the 2008 global financial crisis.
China's in deep trouble. The global economy's in deep trouble. It'll be okay. No, it won't. That's what all the little liberals keep saying. All these little people that follow the orders of their local
growing pressure for a further program of government support for the economy to help it to adapt to a radically changed post-COVID world.
Great. Another little fraudulent, arrogant piece of crap. The jawboner.
They surrounded Sir Winston Churchill's statue in Parliament Square, which was boarded up after it was vandalised during the Black Lives Matter demonstrations last weekend.
People who are surrounded by the artifacts of dead cultures that they don't know, don't understand, and don't care for.
In Newcastle, demonstrators supporting the Black Lives Matter movement were heckled by a large counter-protest.
Who the hell is this little piece of shit to tell us what to do? This is a little slime ball that had the whole place closed down.
Warfare, stagnation, and starvation.
I think there's going to be a huge race war in Europe.
Put this insurrection down. Now.
Instead, scientists will use data from a new NHS contact tracing system.
They know what to do. Just follow what they tell you.
Do rallies, we have to fight back. There will be casualties on both sides. There will be, because people have to die to make a change in this world.
I didn't want to say you stupid son of a bitch, or in this case, daughter of a bastard. Men, women, they're all screwed up.
Mr. President, what are you doing about excessive police use of force?
Doing all right, and I think it's going to be a great show. Just going to tell everybody up front, I think it's going to be a great show this week. We're doing something a little different this week, folks. Normally, we try to end the week on a lighter note, and as everybody's aware, that's become more and more difficult to do. So we're going to do something a little spicier this week, and like I say, it's a good thing.
All these little morons on a power trip. You got air blowing all around you.
Police have been punched, kicked, and pelted with bottles during confrontations in central London, where large crowds gathered.
In my radio and television audience tonight, your heart beat a bit faster, and you felt a great surge of pride when you heard in song that this was the land of the free and the home of the brave. But let me ask you, how free are we? How brave are we? If you catch a criminal looting your safe, kidnapping your children, and attacking your wife, do not dare turn the spotlight on him. Do not get rough with him. Do not call the police, because if you do, the criminal will have you arrested for disturbing the peace. I realize, of course, the low ebb to which our honor has sunk over the past 20 years. We promised the American people something different. It's up to us now to deliver. Not next year, next month. Let us deliver now, my good friends. Once the nation has allowed itself to be reduced to a state of whining, whimpering appeasement, the cost of regaining national honor may be very high, but we must regain our national honor regardless of what it costs.
My sister is gone because one of you, a protester, shot my sister! A protester! Not even the police! Because you guys, I lost my sister! I lost my sister because you're so mad at the police! You're hurting everyone else! You're so mad at the police! You guys killed my sister! For those who don't know, it wasn't the police who shot my sister! It was one of yours!
And thus the battle lines will be drawn and the civil war will commence. It will rage for many years and tens of millions of people will die. Towns will be dangerous places to live because of the lack of protection from marauding bands of fighters. Eventually it will become absolutely brutal, with people of different races frantically trying to kill each other on sight, and whole towns being raped and burned to the ground just for the sake of it. The media establishment of today is clearly perfectly happy with lies,
You're prospering materialistically, you have indulgent lifestyles, you're ripe for judgment, it's going to come, and when it comes, there will be dead bodies all over the place. That's God's own message.
You can be certain there's one violence when you watch the media. When they go wherever they want, steal whatever they want, beat up whomever they want without consequence. They see that. When they can burn police cars, that's what they see. But don't worry. They're either endorsing this, they're excusing this, or they're silent. What is this? It's called domestic terrorism. The people in these neighborhoods are being terrorized. The arson, the beatings, and the killings, wanton violence. Our police are under attack. And guess what? If the cops don't show up for work, then what? People's lives are in danger. People are being killed. People are being brutalized. We have thousands of stores now that have been looted. It's symbolic, of course. Fires in communities that will never recover. Poor people losing jobs. Small shop owners in these communities, grocery stores, restaurants, clothing stores, gone forever. There's a complete disconnect between the elitist left and what actually goes on in the streets of these communities. You gotta dominate the street. You gotta take back the street from the anarchists. Our cities are under attack. Our fellow citizens are under attack, regardless of race. Oh, don't say that. People are being pulled from their vehicles and beaten to a pulp. People are trying to protect their property, are beaten within 1 inch of their lives. I say trigger the Insurrection Act and put an end to this before it gets worse. Right now the whole country is not engaged in the violence, but that day could come. The breakdown of the civil society.
Then we're likely to see unemployment being even worse than it already is.
And 3 years into this shrieking shit fit for the media, the free meat protesters, it's abundantly clear the implication is as follows. All you have to do is give us what we want. You can have your comfortable delusion of the last 5 decades back.
There have been anti-racism protests and counter-demonstrations at a number of cities around the UK.
But Western culture isn't perfect, but it's the best we've got in terms of individual freedom, economic prosperity, intellectual advancement, technological progress, the arts and medicine. The West provided the blueprint for the ascent of humanity.
Patel has condemned today's clashes as thoroughly unacceptable thuggery.
Fuck you, motherfucker! You can keep your callow delusions. There's no going back to our cozy chimeras of establishment altruism, and I don't negotiate with intellectual terrorists.
Gut reaction to some of that sort of stuff is, you've heard the expression familiarity breeds contempt.
They disassembled their fuckwad quarters, secret compartments for heroin and weapons, a sub-basement beneath the living room for trafficking illegal aliens. They took our germs? No shitheel, they took our fucking neighborhoods. This ain't about fucking race, nothing.
Thoughts that can put the safety on weapons has always been astounding to me. And I have, of course, throughout my life, struggled and striven and sweated blood, it feels like, to find this key that brings a scabbard for the endless sword of the species. Put this goddamn stuff away and stop killing each other. And stop hurting each other. For nothing, for flags, for sociopaths, for the people in charge, who you and I have as much in common with as a zebra does with a lion. December 25th, 1914, to try and turn that day into something we cannot, or we don't have to be ejected from, because the sun goes down and the sun comes up and the bombs go up and the bombs go down and the body parts go all over the fucking place.
Now in Long Beach and in Las Vegas,
to say that the riots are due to a poverty of values. Many of the urban poor remain that way because they lost their moral fiber in the social and political upheaval of the 1960s and 70s. Well, well.
Platinum chains.
The 60s riots under the Democrats and then Nixon caused a decay in the poverty-stricken. I do not believe this tune is going to play, as they say, in any slum, in any big city in the United States. I may be wrong, but somebody in or around the White House is going to have to give us a prescription for growing moral fiber.
I mean, my point on this is like, do you not think we should be as immaterial as the Muslims, as ethnocentric as the Jews, as in touch with nature as the Hindus, and willing to invest in our state power as much as the Chinese? These are all rivals to us, which are doing things right. And as soon as our people start talking about something that's outside the sphere of, like basic conservatism with more pro-white characteristics, it's like shouted down and there's this big witch hunt. I found it weird and depressing.
This is a call for you to become the most capable, most qualified, most resourceful man or woman that you can become. Why do that night school class? Why marry that woman? Why start that business? Why make those connections? It's not just for yourself. It's the survival of our race. And if that isn't worth sacrificing for, I don't know what is.
The High Court in Dublin has ordered the extradition of a man sought by Essex police in connection with the deaths of 39 Vietnamese nationals. The bodies were found in a refrigerated lorry trailer, which had sailed from Belgium.
The problem with something like that is it's not a solution, because you can't do this in isolation. In terms of, you can't be advocating for a universal basic income unless you're going to close the borders, unless you're going to get rid of those people who shouldn't be there to begin with. It doesn't make any sense. Each idea is antithetical to the other.
I'm just spitballing here, Sally.
One man was photographed urinating next to the memorial for PC Keith Palmer, killed in the 2017 Westminster attack.
I don't care if it's part of your culture.
So odds are, our cultural, religious, artistic, political and philosophical legacy would eventually be warped out of recognition if left in the hands of people who are not us.
Tag with graffiti and burglarize.
I believe the lawless social anarchy, which we saw, is directly related to the breakdown of family structure, personal responsibility, and social order in too many areas of our society.
Regardless what he says he's going to do, it's not going to happen. Because time and time again, this is what happens. People vote for one thing, they never get it. Which is why the system is fundamentally illegitimate. Because even when the people vote for something which is possible to be given to them, something which can be done within the system, regardless of that they're propagandized to not want it, even when they vote for something explicitly, it never happens.
So why are we constantly browbeaten into being ashamed of the West? I'm not ashamed of the Renaissance. I'm not ashamed of the Enlightenment. I'm not ashamed of how the West ended slavery. Look at the fruits of Western civilization. An increase in health, wealth, comfort, freedom, and life expectancy. Unparalleled in human history.
Why? Is it because communist slavery is more attractive than the clean, fresh air of freedom? Certainly not. Then why?
That's why we shouldn't be ashamed to defend Western civilization against cultural relativism. We shouldn't be bullied into sacrificing our own culture and allowing it to be supplanted by inferior cultures in the name of political correctness. The West is the best, but it's only going to remain that way if we safeguard what made it great in the first place.
Other projects which progress daily even now include scientific inquiry, philosophical cogitation, and artistic exploration. All of these are forms of conquest.
You don't give us a deal, well, we'll just take a deal, and we could be your worst nightmare, worst nightmare, worst nightmare, worst nightmare, worst nightmare, worst nightmare.
Everything about your way of life could be about to change dramatically. The global credit crisis, the property slide, not just financially, but socially and politically too. As you've seen on the news, there have been riots, suicides, overnight poverty, snap elections and crushing general strikes. In that environment, just keeping your family safe is a challenge. Our political leaders still like to see Britain as a world power. Let's not delude ourselves. It's clear to see we're totally broke. Not just in over our heads, but 6 feet under.
The word of the Lord came unto me. 1988. It laid down a pattern, a word that is now being fulfilled, and the end is coming.
According to the official, the financial services provided by these banks have helped to materialize projects in a number of areas, including the construction of highways, railways, ports, as well as electric power generation and telecommunications.
Need you to stay on your beat because there might possibly be retaliation.
What y'all want? The rings on your fucking finger.
Hey DJ! Yeah, what's up? Hook me up one of them slow jams. Alright, I'll do that for you right now.
Is what you expected? No, it's just the beginning.
Zero News, Washington.
This message was brought to you by the Public Relations and Media Department from the Kuwait Fire Service Director.
From 999, please remind the officers in the field to use caution. Furthermore, remind them that until further notice, there is zero tolerance when dealing with gang members and to take appropriate enforcement action.
Yesterday, an act of terrorism tried to silence our democracy. But today we meet as normal to deliver a simple message. We are not afraid. A terrorist came to the place where people of all nationalities and cultures gather to celebrate what it means to be free. We are not afraid. As I speak, millions will be boarding trains and aeroplanes to travel to London and to see for themselves the greatest city on earth, the greatest city on earth, the greatest city on earth, the greatest city on earth.
Right next to an industrial park area, parked on the street. They both been drinking, I got nothing else.
I have pulled dead, mangled bodies from cars. I have lied to people as they were dying. I told them they were going to be fine as I held their hand and watched their life fade out. I have held dying babies. I've bought lunch for people who were mentally ill and hadn't eaten in a long, long time. I've had people try to stab me. I've fought with men trying to shoot me. I've been attacked by women who've had the crap kicked out of them by their husbands as I arrested them. That one's especially poignant. Cops, as they're arresting abusive husbands. The women beating up on cops. I continue. I have held towels on bullet wounds. I've done CPR when I knew it wouldn't help, just to make family members feel better. I've torn down doors. I've fought in drug houses. I've chased fugitives through the woods. I've been in high-speed car chases. I've been in foot chases across an interstate during rush hour traffic. I've been in crashes. I've been squeezing the trigger about to kill a man when he came to his senses and stopped. I've waded through large, angry crowds by myself. I've driven like a madman to help a fellow officer. I've let little kids who don't have much sit in my patrol car and pretend they're a cop for their birthday. I've taken a lot of people to jail. I've given many people breaks. I've prayed for people I don't even know. And yeah, at times I've been violent when I had to be. I've been kind whenever I could be. I admit I've driven to some dark place and cried by myself when I was overwhelmed. I've missed Christmas and other holidays more than I wanted to. And then he concludes like this. Every cop I know has done all of these things and more for lousy pay, sucky hours, and a short life expectancy. And then he closes with this anonymous cop. We don't want your pity. I don't care for your respect. Just let us do our jobs without killing us. Please. Thank you. Please. Thank you. Please.
The best music comes from Africa. An African beat gives you the best of the best. From Benga to Juju, hip life to Conga flavor, Afrobeat to Dumbolo, and Makossa to Kwaito. All happening right here on the African Beat of the Voice of America. Monday through Friday, 0900 and 2000 Universal Time.
In the sweet by and by, we shall meet on the other side.
Good afternoon, Prophet. This is Brother David Son calling. No lady calling, but Brother Sarah don't always have access to a phone. It's very, very difficult for me right now. I'm being up here, most of the people are asleep. The Christians, I have no fellowship here. It's very isolated. The only thing I've got, Prophet, is listening to you and the brothers and sisters on there on the shortwave, and it's just ripping my heart apart that I can't be there. They have to be led by the Holy Spirit to make that move, Prophet. I've been down there before, I know, and it's been a long time there. But Prophet, I thank you for your words, and I thank you for the Word of God. It feeds my soul every day. I don't know what I'd do if I didn't have you were on the shortwave. There's no other voice out there like yours. Nobody else warning like you are, Prophet. I have 2 shortwaves, but I lost my power supply to one. I listen on the solar power one. So anyway, don't have internet out here. I don't have a job. Don't have any income coming in. We're barely paying our bills, but I know that we've got to trust the Lord because the money's gonna go.
This is Sister Anne from Springfield, Massachusetts. I'm calling to give you a radio check. I listen to you on AM 730 WACE, Springfield, Massachusetts. I agree with you once again, brother, that this is the last generation. This is the last time Jesus is coming in our lifetime. And every single day is getting more and more clearer with all the bad things, the disasters, the war, rumors of war. Even today, the U.S. dropped the largest non-nuclear bomb in Afghanistan. They call it the mother of all bombs, brother. But you gotta be really glad to not see what's happening. All I have to do is open my eyes and see it.
The name of God is now blasphemed among you. Oh, America, what you have done. You have brought the Almighty God down to a mere man. You have embarrassed me to the rest of the world. You used my name and you used my power and you used my blessings. For it is He, the Lord thy God, who to get wealth. You have become wealthy and you use my power to pollute political process of the world, the economic system of the world. You have used the wealth that I have placed within thy hand. You have used it for your own selfish and worldly and ungodly earthly gains. And I am saying unto you this day that your wealth now should be turned into poverty, your blessings into curses. You have allowed within the borders of thy nation, under the guise of freedom, every sin that is so despicable to creep into politics, into the pulpit, into the school system. But you have banished my word and my spirit from your system, and you've allowed the spirit of hell and witchcraft to creep in. And I say unto you, it is enough. I, the Almighty God, have declared it is enough.
You're listening to Head Radio,
FM Stereo,
the network show with Eddie Simmons.
He's a jam. I need you to talk to the people, but bro, you gotta go easy on them because you know how the snowflakes get, and we don't want to offend them.
Dripple drip out your seam, it's a trip scene. Illegals hopping over borders, that's a crime scene. Hold tight, we on the coast, it's the Trump train. Americans with the knowledge, all facts, man. Blow steam out they top, she a lumberjack. Oops, I mean sir, so let me double back. Check the charts, hold them up, I wanna see the stats. Trump got a lot of voters and they looking black. Internet in your pocket, you can search the facts. But you a libtard, you never heard of that. Logic is a virus, you took the vaccine. Got you limping, walking slow, Maxine. You just a soy boy.
Thank you very much. I hate to inform the BBC, but if you think you've come to a community that's divided, you are mistaken. This is a community that came together after the Walter Scott shooting. We are a community that came together after the Emmanuel 9 shooting. We are a community that can argue among each other. I've been arguing with this lady right here all evening. As wrong as she may be, this young lady is a Charlestonian, and we stick together. So it was the media that came here after the Emmanuel 9 looking for division. It was the media that came here looking for buildings on fire. It was the media that came here looking for a divided community, but they didn't find it, and they won't find it. That is why the BBC and other media outlets, the mainstream media here in this country, are trying to continue this narrative. How can you say you're not complicit in the division that is going on in this country right now when you host an event at a setting as beautiful and gracious as it may be? It is divisive in its nature. How can the media say that they are not complicit in the division? How can the media say divisive in its nature? How can the media say divisive in its nature? How can the media say divisive in its nature? Thank you very much. How can the media say divisive in its nature? Thank you very much. How can the media say divisive in its nature? Thank you very much. How can the media say divisive in its nature? Thank you very much. How can the media say divisive in its nature? Thank you very much. How can the media
Maybe they can participate in a grid search, that'd be cool. It is insane, the driver is getting quite aggressive. We're on that accident.
38. You know that job tomorrow night? Now changed to 8 o'clock. Car 38. Car 38. Car 38. Car 38. 44. Charlie Tango 21, 90, standing by.
Luxio here in Washington. This is International Edition.
You're listening to the W's World in Progress, coming to you from Bonn, Germany.
You're listening to Horizon.
Listening to EWTN Radio on Denver Catholic Radio, right there in the Mile High City.
VOA News, New York.
Keep your eyes on Jerusalem.
Roger that. 35. Yeah, roger that.
Can you see my light? Yeah, we see your boat. Right across the river.
Car 3. Car 3.
Don't do something. You don't have a purpose. Leave now. No work.